In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at how you should practice any new musical tool that you learn on the guitar. So when I say the word musical tool, to me, that's any new scale, chord, approach to finding sounds that we can use in our soloing or even in our songwriting and just applying it to songs in general. But this is going to particularly apply to soloing today. So with that being said, let's get started. So whenever we learn any piece of new material, any musical tool, step number one is obviously to map out that musical tool on the guitar. So in today's example, we're going to use what I like to call the diatonic triads. So for those of you who don't know, in any major key, there are 7 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1. So there's 7 notes, and for each of those notes, we can build a chord on each of those notes. Now, we're not going to go super into detail about that. I've done videos on that before, but I will show you how to play this. So we're going to be taking a look at the key of C and looking at all the diatonic triads in the key of C. So first we have C major. So this is a C major triad. I've got my 2 fingers here on the 3rd string and 2nd string, 5th fret, and then my 1st finger here on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Then we're gonna go up to a D minor chord. So this is gonna be the 2 chord. This one was the 1 chord. Now we're going to the 2 chord. So this is a D minor chord. So we got a D, an F, and an A. And that's gonna be D on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, then 6th fret of the 2nd string, and then 5th fret of the 1st string. So then if we move that up 2 frets, we're gonna get an E minor chord. So that's the 3 chord. So we have C major, D minor, E minor. And then we're gonna move everything up just a little bit to F major, right here. So we got F, A, and C. On the 10th fret, 2nd string and 3rd string, and then 8th fret of the 1st string. Now we're gonna move everything up another whole step to G major. So it's C major, D minor, E minor, F major, and then G major. So it's the 1 chord, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1 is major, 2 and 3 are minor, and then 4 and 5 are major. And now we're gonna have just 2 more chords left. So we're gonna have the A minor, which is the 6th chord, A, C, and E, 14th fret 3rd string, 13th fret 2nd string, 12th fret 1st string, and then finally B diminished. This is our 7 chord. The 7 chord's always diminished in a major key. So we got the 16th fret 3rd string, 15th fret 2nd string, and 13th fret of the 1st string. B, D, and F. And then finally, we're gonna have this C major chord we started on an octave up right here. So on the 17th fret 3rd string, 17th fret 2nd string, and then 15th fret of the 1st string. So we're just mapping out the material, right? It doesn't matter if this is a major scale, chords in the major scale. It could be 7th chords. It could be more advanced chords like quartal harmony, all these kinds of things. But obviously, before we can do anything else, we just need to learn where everything is, right? So we're finishing this process of mapping this out here. So let's do it one more time. So that's C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C major all the way up here. Great. So we can't really do that in rhythm or make music before we've mapped out where everything is, right? So obviously we need to go through this step. So a lot of times people make this mistake of staying on this first step for a little bit too long. So they'll go, okay, great, I got that. Now they'll spend an hour just doing this over and over. So sort of out of time, right? This is, it sounds cool, But this isn't really musical. This is just playing a bunch of chords. No one would really want to listen to this, right? It's not a song, it's not music yet. So now we're gonna move on to step 2, which is as soon as we finish mapping out this process, or mapping out the tool rather, that we're using, we need to play it in time now. So great, okay, I figured out where all those chords are. I can kind of remember it, maybe not totally solid yet, but the solidness is gonna come in this next part. So we're gonna play in time. So how are we gonna play in time? Well, the most fun way is to use a drum track. So we could also just use a metronome, but I know some people don't like playing with a metronome so much, which is understandable. It's just a clicking box. So we can get all the benefits of playing with a metronome, but with more fun and more musicality by throwing on a drum track. So now I'm gonna throw on a drum track and I'm gonna play up and down just like that, but I'm gonna play in time. So I'm gonna make sure that I have a set number of beats that I play each of those chords for. So let's try it. Okay, so let's say 4 beats for right now, something nice and easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how long I'm gonna hold each chord for. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'll stop counting. Okay, great. So let's say you do that for a couple minutes, you're really comfortable. Now we'll try making it a little harder by decreasing the amount of time on each chord. So now I'm only gonna do 2 counts on each chord. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And now finally, that's really easy. So let's just do 1 beat on each chord. 3, 4. Okay, fantastic. So again, that process might take a little bit longer for you, but the point is now we're getting closer to making actual music, right? We're playing in time and we're playing the musical tool that we learned, which is these chords in the key of C major. Okay, great. So let's do one more variation before we move on. Is we're gonna arpeggiate each of those chords because we wanna use this for soloing, right? Of course, those chord voicings can actually be great for rhythm guitar as well, but we wanna use them for soloing. So I'm just gonna play with my pick 3rd, 2nd, 1st string. So like this. I'm gonna do that on each chord. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, and then I'll do it backwards as well, because we want to hit this from as many angles as we can to increase our understanding. So, perfect. Okay, so one more cool variation is now we're arpeggiating it. Let's do those backwards. So let's, instead of starting 3rd, 2nd, 1st string, let's do 1st, 2nd, 3rd string. Ready? Okay, great. So now that wasn't really still making music, right? It was really close. We're playing in time. We're playing notes that sound good, etc., etc. But now we're gonna move on to step 3, which is that we need to improvise with this material. And this is especially important when we're trying to get better at soloing, right? Super duper important. So now we're gonna arpeggiate the chords a little bit, sort of like we're doing, but now I'm not gonna do it the same way the whole time. I'm gonna try to change it up, go back, maybe not even play every single note in every single one of the arpeggios. Now I need to try to be creative and now actually make music with this material. And again, we're still leaving the drums on because we still want to be in time, right? We're not going to be able to do this if we're not in time. It's not going to sound musical. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see there at the end, I didn't even use the whole entire triad. I just used the 2 outer notes, the ones on the 3rd string and on the 2nd string. So cool. Now let's take a break from the drums for 1 second. So now we just still improvised. There was a lot of improvising there, right? I was changing the rhythms. I was changing the order of the notes in each of those arpeggios. Sometimes I was trying to slide like this sort of idea a couple times. So there's a lot of improv going on there. So now we're actually getting into making music. So now, in this particular instance, what I want to do is move on to step 4, which is going to be, I'm going to write out my own progression with this. So I don't want to use every single bit of it going in the same order because even that starts getting monotonous, right? So generally, songs are going to be played over chord progressions that aren't going to just use every single chord in the key going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that, right? So let's try writing out our own chord progression. Let's say I'm going to play E minor first, and then G, and let's say D minor. So just those 3 different chords. So the 3 chord, which is E minor, and then G major, which is the 5 chord, and then D minor, which is the 2 chord. So let's see what that sounds like in time. Just play the chords and then improvise with that chord progression, which is previously written out. So now I'm actually writing music with it, technically. Not writing a whole entire song yet, but writing out a chord progression, you never know, might actually end up giving you an idea for a song or something really cool to jam over. Okay, ready? So E minor, G, so back to E minor. Let's play a little rhythm guitar. One more. Cool, let's arpeggiate now. So that's sort of the idea is whenever I'm using a musical tool, I'm practicing it, I want to actually practice writing out something of my own. So now, step number 5 is, depending on what it is, of course, you need a little bit of knowledge to be able to do this, but you want to now apply this concept to popular chord progressions / chord progressions from songs. So one of the most popular chord progressions that you could possibly find is going to be 2-5-1 or 2-5-1-6. That's an expansion on that. So 2-5-1 in this case would be D minor to G to C major, and then to A minor actually is the 6th chord. So 2-5-1-6. Okay, so now the whole point of learning a musical tool is we want to be able to use it to improvise and or play rhythm guitar on any other song that we play, right? We play with a band or anything like that. We're, of course, writing a song like we just did, right? Or writing a chord progression. We need to be able to do that as well. But any song that we encounter, we want to be able to apply our musical tools to all of it. We don't want to go, oh, I only know how to apply this musical tool to one song. So let's try playing it now. So step number 5, applying to these popular progressions. So let's do the 2-5-1-6, which is D minor, G major, C major, A minor. Ready? So just establishing the chord progression first. Now improv. So there you go. There's establishing that chord progression 2-5-1-6 and then doing a little bit of soloing on it using, again, only this approach. I know that it's not like, oh my God, the best solo in the whole entire world, but the whole point is we're practicing this musical tool, okay? We're not practicing playing the best solo in the whole entire world. We're focusing on learning this one thing. Obviously, playing a great solo requires lots of different approaches to take. And when we apply this process to all of the different musical tools that we encounter and learn, that's going to give us the best chance of success to actually use them. So finally, last step, number 6, after we've done all that, is we need to practice all our musical tools in all 12 keys. So we just spent this whole time only playing in the key of C. Right? So, but we're not going to only play in the key of C while we're playing songs, right? There's going to be songs in the key of E flat, songs in the key of F, songs in the key of E, all these kinds of things. So, not going to play every single key right now because that's going to take forever. But in order to do this, we need to understand, of course, the notes that are in each key, and we need to find them all over the fretboard. So one of the best ways to do that is by checking out the Jamsville GPS Fretboard Fundamentals course on jamsville.com. Just a quick little plug there. But let's go through an example here. So let's say we're going to play in the key of B flat major. So the key of B flat major, it would actually just be the same thing that we just played, except everything's moving back a whole step. Why? Because the key of B flat, or the note B flat rather, is a whole step below C. So this is where C was here, 5th fret 3rd string, and we go down to the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and there's our B flat major chord. So in the key of B flat, we're gonna have B flat major, C minor. It's the same shape as the D minor from before, but move back a whole step. Then D minor, then E flat major, then F major, then G minor, then A diminished, and then B flat major. So we would run through that whole entire process. Let's do a little bit of improv really quick. We're not going to run through the whole entire thing all over again in a new key, but you see the idea. We need to be able to do all this stuff in all 12 keys. Ready? So there's a little bit of improv there in the key of B flat using those triads. So again, you might be wondering, well, why do I need to practice in all 12 keys, Adam? It's so that you're prepared to apply this to any song, because songs are going to be in potentially any key. So if you're not prepared to play all the musical tools you know in any key, well, it's only going to be useful when you just so happen to get lucky and play a song that's in the key you like. It doesn't matter if it's pentatonic scale or it's major scale or it's these chords or it's you're practicing your seventh chords or you're practicing your drop two voicing seventh chords. That's a little bit more advanced. Or you're practicing sus2 triads in a different key. You got to be able to do all this stuff in all 12 keys because there's just going to be gigantic holes when someone says, oh, hey man, this song's in the key of C sharp. And you go, your brain's going to break because you can't find C sharp, right? So that's why you need to take the time to do stuff in all 12 keys. There's only 12 of them. I know it sounds like a lot, but once you do 2 or 3 keys, it starts becoming a lot easier. So, and one thing that will also make it way, 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 way easier, again, is if you go to Jamsville.com and pick up the Jamsville GPS Fretboard Fundamentals course, which is going to give you all of the musical tools that you need to be able to solo and play rhythm guitar in all keys and be able to deal with this stuff in any situation they find it. That's exactly why I made the course, because when I was starting to learn guitar, I realized that I had no idea how to do any of this stuff. I had no idea how to find chords that sound good together. I had no idea how to find what to play over a certain chord progression or how to analyze chord progression. That's why I put this whole entire course together to teach you in a step-by-step way to be able to be 100% comfortable with all of these concepts all over the entire fretboard. Not just in one spot like we covered here, but every single place on the entire fretboard. It's super important if you want to be the best possible guitarist that you can be, to be as thorough as you possibly can be with all keys and every single place on the entire fretboard. All right, everybody. Until next time, listen, learn, and jam.